So we need to get beyond this, and I'm starting by trying to get my arms around how big the hole really is. I want to know objectively. We have the independent fiscal office has come up with a figure that's close to $2 billion. It might be higher than that, a structural deficit. In any case, it's just obscenely high, and Pennsylvania simply can't stand this anymore. We have to do something about it. And as Josh pointed out, there are a couple things that have led to this. And again, things that again, maybe I'm drawing on my business background more than I should, but you just can't do this and get away with it. There are a lot of one-time fixes in this budget. As Josh pointed out, one-time revenue sources that aren't going to recur. I mean, by the admission of the budget office. There are one-time transfers, and we have these one-time transfers and cost savings here in this chart, and one-time cost savings that are not going to recur, and that is a big part of this budget. There's a projected negative cash flow. Again, right over here, and this is what I mentioned before, if I, in my business background, took this cash balance chart to my banker, they'd say, you don't have a business plan. You really can't get a loan. This is not working. And yet that's what we have here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We have a line of credit that we have actually now drawn completely down. It's a $1.5 billion line of credit. We drew down on $750 million and $700 million, or $750 million, I think $800 million. Now we have another $50 million that has been drawn down. All that's gone. So the line of credit is gone, and that'll be it for the line of credit. And then finally, as Josh pointed out, the one area that we could do a good job and make up for these one-time transfers would be in economic growth. And obviously that hasn't happened. We're 50th in terms of job creation at a time when the rest of the economy is actually doing fairly well, starting to move forward. Pennsylvania is not. And so we are facing the consequences of that in a budget that is severely jeopardized. So let me just point out, this is the fourth year of this administration. This is the fourth year of an ideology that was supposed to produce all kinds of great solutions and great results for Pennsylvania. And I don't think it's just a matter of the management style. I think we actually have a failed ideology here. And that's what's happened in Pennsylvania. So we have a big budget hole. And the question is, how big is it? And that's what Mary Soderberg and Josh are going to find out. We have the independent fiscal office with their sense. We have other people talking about what it is. I need to know by January 20th what I'm going to be facing in my administration before I can figure out exactly what I'm going to do about it. So we need to find this out. I'm relying on Mary and Josh and their qualified task force to do that. But I want to make sure that everybody in Pennsylvania, all of us, recognize that we do have a big problem here. So I'll be happy to take questions. So will Josh. Revenue growth has got to come from economic growth. Again, my background is raising revenues. The last thing you do is raise prices. You make a better product, you work more productively, more efficiently, and that's what I think the Commonwealth has to do. We have not done that.
Along those lines, the severance tax, how important will that be in helping some of these issues?
Well, the severance tax, the estimates range anywhere from $700 million to $1 billion. So it depends on what the price of gas is and how much production is actually going through Pennsylvania wells if we get a 5% severance tax. If we have a $2 billion deficit going in, that's part of it, and I was hoping to look at that to help fund education to the level I wanted to fund it. Is there? I think the question about what has to be done to the pension, I think we need to, as I said throughout the campaign, we need to meet the promises, keep the promises we made, and we need to figure out how we're going to make the pension fund work. Part of what we're doing right now is making up for, I think, a failure to keep up with the pension contributions back when we should have been making them. And I've talked about things that I'm going to be doing to work with the legislature to plug that hole. So part of what we're seeing right now in terms of pension fund obligations and costs comes from the fact that the Commonwealth did not do what it should have done 10, 15 years ago. I want to address that.
And everyone agrees on that about how now to pay for
That's
those
I'm going to work with
obligations.
the legislature. As I keep saying, the only thing I'm not going to do is delay payment. Sense of how serious this problem is. I do not want to go into this with anybody being under the misapprehension that somehow I caused this. I am inheriting a problem, a big problem. Sorry?
You sound like Tom Corbett.
I want to make sure that we're all in agreement that I am inheriting a big problem here. And so I want to make sure that I understand the magnitude of that problem. That's why I'm taking the time to actually research it, understand it, before I start to weigh in, before anybody logically can weigh in with potential solutions. Josh, you want to say something? Yeah, it's funds in the state budget. You have a lot of opportunities for funds that just simply don't make sense anymore. They were put into place 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and there's money there and it's just not doing anything. And so in some cases, one-time transfers actually make some sense. I think it has gotten to this orgy of one-time fixes has taken us to the point that it's just simply untenable. We can't make it work. Yes, Brad. Pushback, Brad. I mean, I'm Josh is being nicer than I'm willing to be on that $4 billion number. That's baloney. We had $1 billion in cash reserves as of the end of the 2010-2011 fiscal year. The projection today, I think, is about $1 million, if we're lucky, by June 30th. The budget document in 2010-2011 budget showed the 2010-2011 budget at an over $1 billion, $1.074 billion surplus. So I'm not sure where the $4 billion deficit figure comes from. I can't find it. Again, I went to MIT. I think I know something about mathematics. I have not been able to reconstruct that $4 billion number. The $2 billion number comes from an independent source. The $1 million cash balance is coming from the Corbett administration itself. That seems pretty certain.
Time for just a couple more.
If anything under a balanced budget, is that a failure? Or are you looking at $1 billion surplus? I mean, what is your definition of success as far as the budget is concerned?
But yeah, I want a robust budget that is that actually has I would like to see a positive cash balance at the end of the fiscal year.
So anything less than that is a failure?
Yeah. But again, my success is looking out over the next 4 years. And at the end of 4 years, I want Pennsylvania to have been a place that actually lives up to the expectations we ought to have of it. A place that sets the table for entrepreneurs who want to come here and create good jobs and robust economic growth. I want schools that actually educate our kids. So I'm going to be looking at success beyond just the budget, but part of that success will be a budget that is in balance.
Switching gears here a bit,